Anything Can Happen Friday. The art and cultural side of Southeast Asia.
Welcome back to Drian ASEAN. I'm Grace.
And this is Jolene.
And you're at Anything Can Happen Friday. And of course, we've been speaking with Daphne Khoo from Singapore. And she's very energetic and lively, a singer-songwriter here. And we would love to know more about her today. So let's continue our conversations. So throughout your journey, music journey, competitions and gigs, performances so far, and also, of course, working with so many professional musicians here. How has your music direction evolved until now?
So I think back in the day when I started writing and started playing guitar and pretty much songwriting just on the guitar, it was a very inward, introspective kind of songwriting, and my music was mainly very band-based, and it was really always really beautiful to me because, when you're part of a band, everyone has their own elements and they come together to make music. Right. That's definitely the sound of my music, and my songwriting style has definitely changed since then. I mean, for one, I went through a lot of stuff as I got older, and I collaborated with different people, and I learned how important collaboration is. It's not just about, because I'm kind of a bit of a control freak. So like if I want a song to sound a very certain way, I make sure that I hire the right people to make the sound that I want to make.
I mean, that really shows that you know what you really want to do.
Yeah, music. I mean, for the most part, but it can be kind of bad in a sense that like two heads are always better than one, right? Or more than two heads. But I've learned the beauty of collaborating and writing with other people is so powerful, like being able to really bring many different ideas across and get the best of every different world and put it together in a song. And with the advent of like DAWs and digital music and how that's changed how I make my music as well, it's definitely evolved the sound, and hopefully people like it. I really enjoy continuing to make music, and I started to do a lot of EDM as well, so that's like a very huge dynamic.
I really wanted to ask you about that. Yeah.
Go for it.
So, I mean, playing with the guitar at first, then that has evolved to like electronic music, and of course, we just talked about EDM. So, what is your inspiration?
I actually get that question asked a lot, and it's really like certain things, like things that people tell me, stories people tell me, like lessons that my grandfather gives me. Like he's like a super wise guy, the guy that I told you was like a producer. He didn't know he was a producer. But he always has really like smart life anecdotes. So a lot of my inspiration and a lot of the way I notice the world comes from the way he's taught me to look at the world. Right. And also just, the way I've grown up. Like I come from a family of 5. We're very lively. We're very noisy all the time. So when it gets quiet, it's like very noticeably quiet. And I think that's a huge part of how I observe the world as well. And it's really little things, not just in the way the exact things that I've gone through in my life, but also the way the world reflects lives. Like not just my life, but things that people are going through, hardships that people are going through, the battles that we face in life in different things, like waiting for the bus, or like how a fire burns, or, just really simple things like that, that when you notice it kind of sparks something in you that makes you realize that we are connected to everything around us, So that's a huge part of where I draw my inspiration from. And of course, a lot of it comes from just talking. I mean, they might teach you in school not to talk to strangers, but I've learned so much from just talking to random people, like on the different journeys that I've been on.
How do you initiate the conversation then?
It can be a lot of things. Like it can be something as simple as like, hey, can you pass me the sugar? Or like, what are you doing here? And, it can start from something very simple. Or, I've been blessed with a lot of random strangers that talk to me because they're asking for directions, or asking like what is good in the area to eat, or really simple things like that. Or I don't know, for some reason people always like ask me for directions in every country I've ever been in, and I remember there was one time that I totally gave people the wrong directions. But yeah, that aside, like people always talk to me, and I really appreciate that, and it makes it kind of easier for me to approach different people too, because I know what it's like to be approached, and to me, honestly, it's no big deal. Like I love to make conversation with new people that I don't know, and meet new people and be part of different worlds. Like we all have a little world in ourselves, and I find that so fascinating, So yeah, just talking to people.
So you have like most of your musics are basically inspired from the people that you meet, right?
Yeah, actually, there was a whole period of couple of years of my life where I didn't know how to be introspective, and so to make sure that I kept writing, I would sit in a cafe and try and talk to people. I mean, I got to know like the owners, I got to know like the owner's wife, I got to know like his whole family, and then I got to know all the regulars. I mean, and then I became a regular, and that was a point in time in my life where I would try to draw inspiration from other people's stories.
So would you like to share with us one of the music that you have composed that is inspired by people you have met?
Sure. Okay, so this was not like a random stranger. This was like a girl that I went to school with, and we're kind of out having like a fun, wild night and everything. And then she just took me aside, and she started talking to me about stuff that it was wild, but it wasn't out. It was at it was a house party. I remember now.
I was thinking something else.
Yeah, it was such a long time ago. I'm trying to think, but we have had like wild nights together as well.
Right.
But she told me the story about how she was kind of underappreciated in this relationship and all this stuff. So I wrote a chorus. I wrote a little bit of a chorus, and then I asked her, like I said, can I write you a song? And she was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I finished the song, and then I called it Elise's song. Her name was Elise.
Oh,
So,
that's very nice of you. Yeah. But in this society, we are very skeptical when it comes to stranger. Perhaps it could be Asian mindset. You don't talk to stranger. So to initiate the conversation, is it part of you?
I mean, I still get nervous, and obviously I'm not going like, hey, just talk to random people all the time. Like, you have to gauge it, if they look dangerous, maybe don't do it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's something that kind of comes naturally to me now, especially... with things like when you're at events and stuff, like it's okay to talk to random people there because you're all like part of like, someone has invited you to this thing and you're all kind of part of this one thing. And I think it's okay to talk to strangers then, and then slowly, I mean, I feel like it has to be a natural thing. It cannot feel like unnatural or uncomfortable, because the minute it feels uncomfortable, you should like get out of there. But yeah, I don't necessarily think it's necessarily an Asian thing.
So I just want to ask, like, have you ever wanted to do something other than music?
So since I was 3, I've always wanted to do music, right? Like I didn't know that there was a thing called a career or anything back then, but I knew that singing and music was something I wanted to have around me and engulfed in like for the rest of my life. But there did come a time where I thought that I wanted to be a dancer, like a full-time dancer. So this was when I was...
What kind of dance are you talking about here?
Hip-hop dancer.
Oh, cool. It totally suits you, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, like, I really loved hip-hop dancing, and I really was torn between going to this really good dance school in New York or applying for music school in Boston.
Right.
So I ended up applying for the music school in Boston, and I got in. So I was like, okay, goodbye dance, and then I just haven't danced in a really long time since.
But from there, what stopped you from dancing anyways? I mean, you are in the music industry anyways.
Yeah, I think I was just nervous because I thought at some point that I was actually getting somewhere with my dancing, and then but then I was torn between the fact that I've always been fighting to do music my whole life, and I do still love dancing, but I think to me, like, my passion is in music, and to be able to create music that people can dance to, that gives me, like, I'm still able to be part of the dancing world, kind of, I guess.
I'm sure you dance on the stage.
Well, not really. I mostly play the guitar, but I think dancing on stage with the music, I think that might come later. Hopefully don't get too old to do that.
Hope to see it.
Well, let's go a little bit backwards to talk about your songwriting process. So along the way, you've had your quite challenging times, I would say. So could you share with us that past that you've went through? Yeah.
Sure. So a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, a rare form of ovarian cancer, and so I kind of stopped writing for quite a while. I went to get surgery, and then I had to do chemo.
Right.
And I think at that point, I was was scared to start writing again because I didn't know how to look. And this was part of the time where I didn't really know how to look inward and start writing. It was easy to write about other things, but I didn't know how to write about my life experience and what I was going through and had been through. And I think it was maybe a week or a couple of weeks after my last chemo session that I was just like sitting down on like, not even on the couch, I was in front of the couch. Like I remember this so vividly, and I had my guitar and I was like, man, like I have not written anything for myself in such a long time. And I call these songs like selfish songs, you know, like I hardly ever release them because I feel like they're too much about my life, so I don't really like release them. But I was like, yeah, you know, but these are the songs that keep me sane. Like these are like footprints of my life, you know, for me. And at shows that I do live, I do those songs. So anyway, I sat down and I was like, I really need to try and get out of this funk of like not writing for myself, because it's important, you know, like it's important to do things for yourself every once in a while.
Of course.
And it keeps the music flowing as well. It helps you be honest with yourself, with your audience, you know. So and then I wrote the song Weak, which is actually on my latest EP. But the version that I wrote on the guitar is actually kind of a different version from the release version. So the release version was kind of like a pop version of that song. So I sat with a bunch of people and we collaborated in writing the song. So I do like that version too, but the guitar version and the original version will always be like super close to my heart.
Right. But then if I'm not mistaken, you had 2 singles from there, right?
So there was
Carry
another,
On
there was, so Carry On, I actually did not write Carry On. Carry On was written by 2 people that were very dear to my heart back then, and the song was actually a demo for Shaka Khan.
Oh wow.
So my ex-manager, he plays bass for like everyone. He plays bass for Bruno Mars, for Empire of the Sun. He plays bass for everyone, and he currently goes on tour with Nile Rodgers from Chic. And so he had this song that he wanted to pitch to Shaka Khan. He's pretty good friends with her, and she was supposed to have an album that was coming out, but she pushed it back. And so I was part of the whole process. I mean, I watched it happen because he's the guy that made the track and wrote it. He was like my manager back then. And so I was like, okay, well, if you guys are not going to release it, like I'm going back to Singapore. Can I release this song? Because I really love the song, and I felt like it spoke so much about what I was going through. And so he was like, sure, go for it. And it went to #1 in Singapore. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was really, really blessed to be able to do that. And
That's
so,
fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So you are fully recovered right now.
Yeah. In August, it will be 4 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So we'll have a short break here. And let's continue your song, Carry On, by Daphne Khoo.